My name is Paula and I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about my journey into becoming a yoga teacher. What made me decide to be a yoga teacher? I guess it all happened very organically and very naturally. I'd been practicing for a few years, and my friends around me and my teacher started encouraging me to teach. I started teaching friends informally in my early 20s, just kind of in my house or in a park, and it kind of developed from there. And at some point I just realized that it's really my calling, and I feel when I'm teaching and practicing yoga I'm really in the right place and doing the right thing, and I decided to follow that calling, and that's how I've ended up doing what I'm doing. So when I started looking for a teacher training course to do, I was searching for a long time and was never really sure, never really 100% with what I was seeing, and then I finally came across the Himalayan Yoga Institute, and I just started getting into communication with Ganga, and you know, from what I was reading on her website and from conversations that we had, I started just feeling like it was the right place for me to do my training. It felt really authentic. I love that it was a school of yoga rather than a specific style of yoga, meaning that it gives you kind of broad understanding of all of the different practices that are involved in yoga, and not just teaching a specific asana style. So that really worked for me. Plus, I've always been drawn to India, and the idea of going up into the Himalayas to do my training was the icing on the cake. So the hardest thing on the course, I would have to say it's the twice daily meditation. For me it was the hardest thing because it's not easy. Meditation for me does not come naturally. It's not an easy thing to do, and it was really a process throughout the month. The first couple of weeks were a bit of a struggle, but then as the time went on, and within really clear instructions given by Ganga, who's just so incredibly experienced in meditation and was giving us such amazing support through it, it just started becoming clearer and clearer, and easier to sit in stillness. And so I think that was definitely the hardest part, but also the part that was the most rewarding, and it's really helped it, you know, integrate meditation into my practice in a much more profound way now than I think before I went. So other people's reactions when I told them I was going to go and do my teacher training, they were just like, of course, finally. So it was really exciting. I felt so supported and so encouraged, and felt so full of everyone was very, very supportive. It was great. So when I first got back, I wanted to start setting up classes, and what I did was I first started in parks. So summer here in England, and it's a really good time to get outdoors and enjoy. So I set up a class in a local park close to me in Queen's Park, and I just started inviting friends, and then friends would bring a friend, and then I started looking for a space, and I found a space in Maida Vale, which is great. It's an extension of a church, so it's a hall behind a church. And I printed out all my flyers, and I flyered down the roads around the hall, and people just start showing up. And I also teach privately, so I have clients that are mainly, again, through word of mouth, and they come to my house or I go to their house, and I'm just slowly starting to build up my client base. And I've been in communication with different groups of people in terms of working with young people, and also I've been talking to different studios. So it's a journey, but I think the first step is just starting to establish your client base. So going somewhere that is free, like a park or just in your own home, is a really good place to start. So my advice to aspiring teachers would be to just get really strong in your personal practice first, because this first student that you have is yourself. So get a really solid personal practice, and then when you're looking for a teacher training, just really try to follow your instinct and see what you resonate with, so that you go somewhere that you can really get the most out of. It would also be, when you're recently trained, it can feel so daunting, and it can feel like, oh, there's so many teachers out there, and how am I ever going to make it? But there are so many people out there, and if you think of our ultimate mission of like really offering yoga as a gift to as many people across the planet as possible, there really couldn't be enough teachers. So even when it feels like, ooh, my advice would be, don't give up, and just keep going and keep following your calling, because you're doing what you need to be doing. And finally, it would be to only teach what you really know in your bones. So whenever you're faced with, what should I teach in a class, just think, what have I experienced? Teach from experience and teach from what you really know in your bones, and then you can't really go wrong. So when you're choosing a teacher training course, I think it's really important to do your research and take time to choose which program is going to be right for you, because we're all different, and ultimately you just need to trust the person that you're taking the course with. So look for someone who has been there and done it and has been doing it for a while, so that you know that you're learning from someone who's been through what you are about to go through. And also it's good to kind of ask around and see if people recommend the course. I told my teacher, Nicole Ahrens, about Ganga at the Himalayan Yoga Institute before I signed up, and she only had good things to say. And when I saw that Ganga's been teaching for about 30 years, I thought, she probably knows what she's talking about. So I felt really comfortable, and when I spoke to Ganga, I could just feel that we were going to get along. So look for something that is reputable, ask other people about it, and trust the person that's going to be teaching you.